Hello, my name's Marcus and welcome back to the Recovery Hub podcast. We've called this series Families Recover To, dedicated to family members and loved ones of those affected by addiction. Thank you to North Wales Area Planning Board for funding this project. In this episode, you're going to meet Sarah. Now, Sarah is the long-suffering wife of a mate called Danny. Met Danny in rehab when he was up here in Wrexham. He's a lot of fun to be around, but he's got a hell of a story. And his addiction wasn't just drugs, it was gambling as well. It was like a perfect storm of addiction. And you're going to hear how Sarah coped or didn't cope with his addiction and how she came out of it. Now, it's another perspective. It's the perspective of a loved one. I was lucky enough to be invited along to Archway. Archway are a mutual aid recovery support group, really. They're becoming a little community. In fact, they're becoming quite a big community. They've started themselves. Connor and Natalie kicked it off in Rhyl because there just wasn't enough support there. They are incredibly driven, very passionate about helping people to recover. So I went along with a recorder and they just allowed me to sit in the background. Now we've kind of taken the voices of the audience out there, but you'll hear Sarah, you'll hear Connor, and you'll hear a bit of Natalie. And you might hear Danny shouting in every now and again as well. I don't think he can help himself. I hope you enjoy it. I was absolutely sold on Archway after this, and we've been back a few times. You like it too, don't you, Luke?
Hell yeah.
We hope you enjoyed the episode.
Hello, welcome to Archway Recovery. Okay, so welcome everybody, and to those that haven't been before, we are Archway Recovery. What we are is an open to all recovery group. So what that means is we encourage not just people that are struggling with addiction, all in any type, whether it's drink, drugs, gambling, whatever it is, the doors are open for everyone, but it's also to friends, families as well as services. So absolutely anyone that wants to come in and connect or just learn a little bit more about addiction. A very, very, very special speaker this week. As alcoholics and addicts, quite a lot of the time, if not all the time, we think it's all about us. And when we come into recovery, normally it's always us that gets all the attention, all the support, which is needed, of course. But a lot of the time, the families, friends, loved ones that have been through just as much, sometimes if not more, pain and trauma than we have, often get neglected and forgotten about. And as we get better, we just kind of expect sometimes, our spouse or family and friends just to sort of forget everything that's happened and sort of carry on with their lives, as we are. Now, in part of Archway, and what, part of the reason why we started Archway was we weren't just getting people reaching out that were suffering with addiction, but we were getting more so families and friends that were reaching out, asking for support. And that sort of made myself and Natalie think that, it's not just about the addict, it's not just about the alcoholic, it's about the whole family. It's about the community as well. The damage that we've caused, if you work a 12-step program, then you will do, your best to kind of repair that. And in a lot of cases, it is possible. But sometimes, the families and friends don't get their chance to have their say and to tell their side, So we hope as well that through Archway, we're not just here to support the addict and alcoholic, which of course we are, but just as important, and in some cases even more important, are the friends and families and loved ones that have been through it with us. And with that, Sarah's going to share her experience of recovery and addiction, and I'll hand it over to you.
Hi everyone. So I'm going to take you back to when, obviously, the impact of us families that live with an addict in active addiction, the struggles that we face, and how life was for me living with somebody in active addiction, which was my husband. So I'm going to go back a bit to like 7 years ago when, you know, we all go out weekends, he's worked hard, we go out, you know, Friday, Saturday, you get gathering around with your friends. He'd go out with his friends, I'd do what I do, you know, treat yourselves like you do on a weekend. So it got to that, and it probably did that for a good few years, to be honest. In the meantime, obviously, he started a new job, which was a lot of money, working on the road, doing call. So it was like a week away here, you know, sleep time. So we sort of hit and miss. So at that point, it was probably about £4,000 a month that was coming into the household with him working. I was working myself at the time, and I was out a lot, to be honest, because I was doing a lot of activities with the children, i.e. football, dancing, everything. And it just sort of escalated from there, really. It went on, and you're sort of in this bubble, you just sort of go with the flow. Before you know it, a year's gone, 2 years has gone, and then it got to the point where a lot of money was going missing at the end of the month with his wages. So at that point, it was like, oh, I owe someone £500. Right, okay. Right, yeah, that's fine. Then it went on again and again. Before you knew it, that escalated to literally where I got to the point where I said, I'm not going to take any money from you. I've got my own. Give me a few hundred a month for the kids. Just went on like that for years, to be honest, and we just struggled through, did what I did. Obviously, with help from family, my side and my husband's side. So I think it's only been probably the past couple of years where it got really, really bad. Really bad, to the point where he wasn't coming home on a Friday. I'd be speaking to him in the morning, yeah, he's got wages, can go shopping, nothing. To the point then I had to go around to all family members and try and help get a bit of food in, things like that. You know, it just went from there to having nothing for years, and I don't even know how I lived, to be honest, but I did. My kids never went without because I had such a good family support between his parents and mine, and the siblings as well. So that's probably, I don't know, I just sort of lived my life through that. So that's a bit of, I don't know how it started. It was working with colleagues on the road, you know, and before you know it, there was debts coming, debts. Phone calls were being made in and out the house. And I'm like, he was constantly in and out the house in the evenings. And then it got to the point where I had a couple of dealers turning up at the house. I thought, I know of them. They know. And I'm like, don't be giving him anything. You're not getting any money from me. And I could run them down the path. I knew of them. I knew who they were. A lot of them be like, well, I've told you. I've asked you not to give him anything, you know, thinking I can cure him. You know, I'll just tell him not to give him anything. It'll be all right. I can solve him. He'll be sound. Didn't work like that, did it? So then he started working away, and it got to the point where obviously he met other people. Like you say, you can get it anywhere. It doesn't matter where you are, you've got to want to change yourself. So that way I knew it was out of my control. I couldn't do anything. As much as I wanted to help him. And then the lies, the deceit, money was going out of my bank. I was getting up in the night, going robbing my bank. And I'm like, if you took that, no, I haven't. All right, okay. That's how my life was, you know, to the point where he'd say, it's raining. I would have to look out the front door just to check because they're bullshit. That's what it was. 1 minute, let me check. Because the lies just got that bad that I was like, right. So then obviously what I did then was I kept myself in my own bubble because I thought, I want to change him. I didn't want the family row and arguing, didn't want to be constantly explaining. So then I started covering a lot where he was to the kids. He's out, back in a minute. I just thought, I don't know what else to do. Really don't. So that went on for years, probably a good 5 years. And then 5 months ago, it is actually only 5 months ago, there was a phone call that my husband must have received. And then I got the phone call to say, get out the house, get the children out the house. And I'm like, I'm not running from no one. I'm not running from my house. You're going to have to. So what I thought then, I thought, right, I'll tell you what, I'm going to get the kids out the house. That's what I'm going to do. So I went round to the sister-in-laws, the brothers, can you have the kids, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, that's when it sort of come out there. I had to tell my parents what was going on. The kids were older, so they were questioning what's going on, what's mum. So I had to tell them that we've got dealers coming to the door and don't want any of you in the house. So that's what it was. So that night was a very lonely night because obviously at this point my husband was in hiding. He was on the run. He didn't have that money that they wanted there and then, which was about £2,500 that night that they wanted. So I was like, right. So I got the kids out. I went out. I sat on the animal estate. Don't ask me why. I just thought, no one knows where I am. But then I was getting phone calls off people and I thought, this is big. They're phoning me, so I don't know if you'd used my phone in the past or, you know, somewhere they'd phone in my phone and I'm getting these threats, everything. So I thought, what do I do? Anyway, I sat in my car for about an hour with the lights off, just somewhere up the animal estate. I don't even know where I was, to be honest. So the kids were safe at my in-laws, parents, and I thought, right, what am I going to do? Yeah, I went home. I thought, I'm going home. No one's running me out of my house. So that's what I did. I went home and I thought, I'm all right. I've got a few weapons and I've got the dog. And that's what I'm going to do. I had a crossbow under my stair. I had a steel pole at my front door. I had a bottle of wine. I thought, I'll smack him over the head with that. My dog will have him by then and I'm going to lever him and I'm going to prison tonight. I'm going in the cells because no one is coming to get my family. That is how it was. I thought, right. Anyway, I sat up at my kitchen table till 4 o'clock in the morning. I thought, I cracked it. No one's come here. They're all lying bastards. So I thought, nice one. Because I'd give them shit down the phone as well. Come on, try and come to my house. Come then. I thought, well, if they come, at least it'll be over then tomorrow. I don't have to live in that fear. So that's what I did. I thought, oh, cocky Sarah. So I did that. And then it was the very next day in the afternoon, about 2 o'clock, sat in my pyjamas on the couch. My phone rang again, picked it up. I thought, Scousers down the phone to me. Coming to your house tonight, blow it up, whatever. I thought, right, this is bad. So by this point, the previous night, the family, my side and my husband's side, we did get the 2,500 between all the siblings. We all chipped in. We paid that. But then I didn't know this call was coming the day after. So I thought, right, that's sorted. But I was not being run out of my house for no one. So then I got, it frightened me. I put the phone down, I was shaking in my pyjamas and I thought, what do I do? Got in the car, went to my parents and just broke, completely broke. To the point my brother come round and I said, I need to get away. The kids need to come with me. So my nana lives in Manchester. I thought, I just need headspace. I can deal with it, but I don't know what I'm up against. I don't know these people. I don't know who I'm dealing with now. So my brother took me down to my nan's. So my 2 older children didn't want to come with me, so they were staying with my parents. I took the youngest, who's 10. So we went, I thought, they don't need this. Do you know what I mean? We're going to have to get out the house. So I got some advice off the family and they said, yeah, go, have a break, blah, blah. Do you know what I mean? My husband's safe, he's protected wherever he is. That's what I need to do. So I got to my nan's and it was about 7 o'clock that evening. And my mum phoned me and she said, Sarah, is it okay if the kids go and get some stuff from home? Because she only lives like 30 doors away on the next row. I said, yeah, that's fine. My dad's there, whatever. Because these people said they were coming about 5 and nothing had happened. So I thought, right, it should be okay. Go and get your stuff. So they did. Well, I was in Manchester and I got a phone call from my mum saying that my son has picked up the steel bar that was at the front door while his sister's getting all the stuff ready to stay with my mum and dad because someone had walked past the house, ballied up. So he's in fight mode now. He's got to protect his sister that's upstairs, so he wasn't letting no one through that house. By this point, I think I had 6 cop cars outside my house. I'd made a few phone calls and a 3 cars pulled up. So by then, my road was chaos at this point. So I'm broken. I'm at my nan's on my kitchen floor. No one can get me up. because I'm my kids. So that's when it was just like, enough's enough. Don't know what I'm going to do. Spoke to my sister-in-law. So obviously I wasn't speaking to my husband at the time because I thought I need to just cut contact and let the family do what they have to do to help him at the minute. So yeah, it sort of flipped then. So Monday, I got the phone call to say that he was a broken man and he was under Brighton Road misuse substances. So he'd gone there to say, I really need rehab. I need help. I've got dealers after me. There's people coming. My kids have had to go away. So it got really serious, which then what they did, by Monday, I had a marker on my house, on my parents' house, on his parents' house, because we didn't know what we was up against. So obviously for safety. And then obviously because of that, what they said then, when Sarah does eventually come back home, my husband cannot live in that house, because that's when social services would get involved, because obviously what he's told us, he wants the help, but he can't be there. So he went to his parents. He could still see the kids, but then it was still at that point until I'd paid everyone that was outstanding, because that's what I wanted to do while I was away. I didn't want to come back to anyone knocking on my door. Didn't want my kids walking them streets. I had a grandson on the way at the time as well. I didn't want to walk them walking them streets in case they come for your family. It's not just, if they can't get to them, it's the family that they're coming for. And, you know, I needed to protect the kids. So obviously when my husband had the youngest, he'd have him obviously be via his parents' house, picked up in a car, things like that, because when I was away, I literally did. I just sent all my money and said, we'll get this paid, we'll get it sorted, because now he's at rock bottom where he wants to change his life for the better. And losing them kids, I think it sort of hit home. And what had happened at the house that on the Saturday evening, that we didn't know. My kids could have been battered, shot, I don't know. It was just scary. And I thought, it's out of my control now, I can't even fight. It's all right me fighting, but then what am I doing to my kids, because the kids need me. I did try and cover up, because I was that low at the time. I didn't want to be told, get rid of him, throw him out, because I had this chat with my elder children and I said, I don't want to send your dad away, because he's doing what he's doing now, but that might make him go to another level. And if it's only me he's got to help with his recovery and to support him, no matter how he treats me, what he does, I can't wake up and have that phone call of he's overdosed or that was my fear. Even going to bed at night, I'd watch him breathe, because it got to the point he was popping a lot of things into his body. But like you say, that's the powerless of him and the illness at the time. But I've lived with heroin addicts. My uncle was a heroin addict. I lost him to heroin 3 years ago. He's 15. I've lived with it, lived with alcoholics, growing up with it in my household. So I always wanted to help and try and cure them, but I couldn't. But, you know, so I did have that chat with my children as well, because I thought I've got to think of their feelings as well. But they said, Mum, don't throw Dad out. We need to make sure he's safe. And that's the children that he's got today. So that's amazing. Grandma and Granddad started taking him to church. So it was brilliant. I came back, things were paid. Obviously, we didn't pay the family back, which they'd forked out over the years, which was thousands and thousands to help. But these dealers were off our back, which was amazing. I weren't coming home until this was sorted, because I don't know what I would have done. You know, you do anything for your family, don't you, when you're in that moment. I thought, I'll murder someone, I'll kill him. I will. Because you're not getting to my kids, or even my husband for that matter. It's not happening. So, yeah, so he started going to church. I didn't come with him for the first few weeks. You know, he was really enjoying it. So he was making, you know, progress, where I was like, wow. You know, I didn't believe he'd be able to change or anything. I thought, this is him. But he did it, and he did it. And then this is where he met Natalie and Connor, which then he was asking about the meetings, CA. AA, and obviously Connor, thankfully, very grateful, and Natalie put him in touch with a sponsor, which was Brian at the time, thank you. And to be honest, it's sort of gone from there. So, you know, it's flipped right over in 5 months. 5 months. My life's gone from that. I've got so much money, I don't know what to do with it every month now. Doing gardening, the kids have got what they want, but that's another thing we need to reel in is the kids, they think they can take the mick because we're giving what we've not been able to do over them years. But they're at that age where they want, reel it in. We've let them keep asking for a few weeks, but we've said, now we're going to have to cut it off there, mate, because we're doing the house, the garden, we're doing, things, I mean, I never thought I'd be able to go to the bank and draw out 2,500 and buy a car in cash. And that's what we did. So that's what we've done. And it's just my life's gone from that to that. But it's only with Daniel finding these 12 steps to recovery. That is, and having a fellowship, being in the fellowship, having a sponsor. The 12 steps to recovery will change your life beyond its wildest dreams. So I have to get that bit in, didn't I? So this now is Daniel's prescription medicine. Not my tablets out the cupboard anymore. My morphine tablets, anything, because I suffer with Crohn's disease. So, don't have to hide anything anymore. Can send him to the shop for shopping and things like that. He come back, everything, receipt, the lot. I'm like, I don't need that. That's how much trust has come back into our marriage. We've been together for 19 years. It's been a rocky road, but my life flipped. And like I was trying to get through to other family members as well, is it's encouraging to bring them here to Archway, because if there is somebody that's trying to do the 12 steps or in recovery at meetings, I've spoke to a couple of people in Bangor last week. That was a lady, and she was saying that her fellow doesn't really understand these meetings. And I said, right. And she said, I said, yeah, I know what you mean. So you're being told you've got a meeting, it finishes at 8, 8:30, it might not get home till 9:30. That, for someone in recovery to go home then, for a family member to be giving it this, why are you late? But it's not needed. Like I say, encourage your family to come, see what it's all about. And you can see, because after the meetings, everyone, like in this room, they like to talk to each other, which is different advice from everyone. So you could be stood there half an hour, 40 minutes. There's, if you're in recovery and you've got a spouse or a family member supporting you, it's just that. It's nothing else. It's just that they're connecting with people in recovery. So it took me a couple of weeks. I'd say to my husband, why have you been this long? And then I think, whoa, that could affect his recovery, the way I'm talking. So step back, Sarah. And that's what I did. And I went with him. And now I know, can go to his CA closed meet on his own. I come to Archway, but my life turned round as well. I'm not an alcoholic or addiction, but to be honest with you, I haven't drank for 2.5 weeks because I've not wanted to. I'd rather go out with my husband and go sightseeing now. Got a different life. It's flipped completely. And he's found God as well. Now, that's his higher power, which is God. And it's through these 12 steps to recovery that he's got that. Going to church every Sunday, I go, I'm open-minded, I'm believing, I'm praying. And it does work. It really does. And you can change any family member. It's just, I've been supported my husband from day one, but that's the old life and that's the old life. This is the new. And the only way is up now and forward. So, so that's a bit of my life and how it was. 5 months. And that's how it's flipped. And then coming to Archway, being part of the team, helping out, I've got a new lease of life. I've got new friends, new family in here. And I love to help anybody, So I'm enjoying every bit. So I do hope, I want you all to realise there is light at the end of that tunnel. There is hope. As long as you're willing and you put the action into the 12 steps, you will be recovered by the end of it. And, you know, and that's how amazing it's been. My life's amazing now. I can't tell you. It's absolutely amazing. So that's my share. And I'm going to just leave it open if anyone wants to ask any questions.
Yeah, I found as well, just recently, is that Sarah's getting quite emotional and struggling. But because I feel like I'm flying on this recovery program, I'm sort of not thinking about other people's feelings, and now we can actually sit down and express to each other what we're both feeling and deal with it together. I didn't realise how much Sarah was struggling a few weeks ago, but she opened up to me and told me. So we're both helping encourage each other.
It's nice to actually
It is a
sit
massive
and talk.
change. It's dramatic. It's drastic change, and it's unbelievable. So I can see why she was struggling. I'm struggling as well, but I have me ups and me downs. But if we work together, we're a good team, and I think we're both benefiting from it now, aren't we? So yeah, wanted to say that.
The life that she must have led with trying to support Danny, because we mirror our problems, it's reflected onto the family member. So where Danny's life was dishonest, Sarah was then being dishonest to her kids and trying to hide it. And there's so much hurt and pain that's reflected to the family member. And, you know, from an alcoholic, listening to that, it's, you know, sometimes it was all about me. You know, I'm the one that's suffering here. You know, I'm the one that's going through this. I'm the one that's been arrested. I'm the one that's in debt. I'm the me. I never stopped and thought what my daughter, you know, was going through when her friends were telling her, your mum's been arrested in the street again, or blah, 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 all these embarrassing stories. And then my sister as well. My sister would pick me up from police stations, hospitals, Ablett, you know, Ablett wards. And I never ever stop and think, you know, what I put her through. So by listening to your share, really, even though I've been in recovery 5 years, I still forget the trauma that and the chaos and the madness that I caused my family home and my family members, where my sister would lie so my mum wouldn't know. And it just ripples to everybody. We're like a tornado in our lives. So thank you very much for sharing that such personal about your journey with Dan.
Yeah, I just want to say as well what a blessing it is to have you guys, you know, part of Archway. And since Dan come into recovery, you've been there fighting his corner, and you're such an inspiration for myself and Natalie, you know, as a married couple, to see that it doesn't matter obviously what happened, and you stuck by him, you know, and that is so important. And I think what you said about when he first came into recovery and not being on his back and, you know, having a go, that must have been so difficult because the trust had been broken, you know, and from the lies to then be able to say, okay, yeah, that, you know, that's fine, but you trusted your husband, you know, and you know, God's seen him through. But the impact you've had is, honestly, we can't put into words. We really can't. Like, to see every time you come in, it's like the epitome of recovery. You know, it's not just the alcoholic or the addict getting better, but the wife, the kids, the grandparents normally, you know, when they're here, you know, brothers, sisters, it's the whole family that's getting better, you know, and that is what recovery brings. It's sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly, like the big book says, you know, it doesn't happen overnight. There's got to be a lot of action on our part, you know, but we can at least make an effort to right these wrongs, you know, the harm and the trauma that we've caused. And, you know, God willing, in a lot of cases, it does get better and we do recover and families are amended, you know. So thank you so much for, not just for tonight, which it was super incredible, but for all that you do and all that you bring to Archway. You know, your experience, your strength, your resilience and your trust it's just mind-blowing. So thank you very much. Yeah, okay.
I just want to thank everybody from Archway, Natalie, Connor, everybody who supports behind the scenes there, and a lot of new friends that I made there. It was a real privilege to be trusted to go in there with microphones and record people's really personal stories. As I said earlier, I am hooked on Archway, and anybody looking for recovery in the area of Rhyl, you can go along to the Salvation Army Wednesday nights between 5 p.m. and 7 p.m. and you'll have a hell of a warm welcome. Next up, you're going to hear from another good friend of mine called Jamie. I've known Jamie all of my recovery, really. We've got the same clean time. He got clean down in Colwyn Bay, did a residential down there and jumped into fellowship. He's a Wrexham lad and he's one of the funniest guys I know. It's a lot of fun to be around. And you're going to be hearing Caitlin, who we hope to have back as a presenter very soon, interview Jamie. Hope you enjoy it.